Who what? She looked at me then. Really looked. Like she was trying to see through skin and bone to whatever was underneath. A man who looked at me like I was going to disappear. The words hit different than they should have. Because she had disappeared. And maybe I'd been looking at her that way because some part of me already knew. Why did you leave? I asked. You know why. Tell me anyway. She shifted in the bed. Winced. Because men like you don't protect people. You own them. And I didn't want to be owned.
Fair.
That why you kept the photo? Her expression changed.
Surprise.
Then something softer. You found that. It wasn't your things. I kept a lot of things I shouldn't have. She looked away. Old habits. Bad memories. Proof that good things existed before everything went wrong. A doctor knocked, poked his head in. Miss Vitelli, I need to check your vitals. Mr. DeLuca, if you could step outside. He can stay, Mara said. The doctor raised an eyebrow but didn't argue. He checked her machines, asked questions about pain levels and memory gaps, scribbled notes that probably said something like, patient claims she doesn't remember, but definitely does. When he left, silence filled the space like water. Why'd you list me as your emergency contact? I asked again. I told you I don't remember. Don't lie. You're bad at it. She almost smiled. Almost. You haven't changed. Neither have you. Yes, I have. Her voice went cold. 6 years changes people, especially when they spend those 6 years looking over their shoulder. There it was. Confirmation. Who were you running from? Does it matter? Someone tried to kill you. Yeah, it matters. She stared at the ceiling. You wouldn't believe me. Try me. Long pause. Long enough that I thought she wouldn't answer. Then she did. Rico Filoni. The name hung in the air like smoke. Rico's dead, I said. Is he? I made sure of it. Then explain this. She reached under her pillow, pulled out her cracked phone, fingers shaking as she swiped through photos. She turned the screen toward me. The image was blurry, taken from a distance. But I'd know that face anywhere. Scarred. Older. Meaner. But alive. Rico Filoni, standing outside Mara's apartment building 3 weeks ago. I took the phone. Zoomed in. The scar across his jaw. The way he stood. The dead look in his eyes that came from doing things that hollowed you out. It was him. When was this taken? September 19th. I was leaving for work. Looked back and saw him. He didn't try to hide. Just stood there. Smiling. Why didn't you call the police? And tell them what? That a ghost is stalking me? That the man who she stopped. Swallowed. That the man who hurt me 6 years ago came back. I understood. Police couldn't help with ghosts. They barely helped with the living. You should have called me. I didn't think you'd answer. I didn't think you'd care. That hurt more than it should have. How many times did you see him?
7.
Always watching. Never close enough to do anything about. Until 2 days ago. What happened 2 days ago? Her hand gripped the sheet tighter. I got a letter. No return address. Just one sentence. You can't run from the dead. I stood up. Started pacing. My mind went into a place it only went when bodies needed to disappear and problems needed solving. Rico was alive. That meant someone helped him fake his death. Someone in my organization. Someone close enough to know the plan and smart enough to execute it. That someone was about to have a very bad day. I need to make a call, I said. Wait. Mara's voice stopped me at the door. Why are you helping me? I turned back. Looked at her lying there, broken but not defeated. Scared but not begging. She'd survived 6 years of running. Survived an assassination attempt. Survived long enough to ask the one question I didn't have a good answer for. Because, I said, 6 years ago, I failed you. I don't fail twice. I walked out before she could argue. Made it to the hallway before I pulled out my phone. One message. Rico Filoni is alive. Find him. Find who helped him. And bring me answers before I start asking questions nobody wants to hear. 3 dots appeared. Then, understood. I looked back at Mara's room. Through the window, I could see her staring at the ceiling, one hand pressed against her ribs, the other clutching that cracked phone like it was evidence of a crime the world forgot. She was right about one thing. Men like me didn't protect people. But for her, I'd burn the whole city down if that's what it took. If someone from your past came back to destroy you, would you run or fight? 24 hours. That's how long it took my people to confirm what I already knew in my gut. Rico Filoni didn't just fake his death. He had help from inside my operation. And the person who helped him had been playing both sides for 6 years, feeding information to my enemies while smiling at my table. I sat in Mara's hospital room, watching her sleep. They'd given her something for the pain. Her breathing was steady now. Even. The bruises on her face had darkened to purple and yellow, a roadmap of violence I was about to repay with interest. My phone buzzed. Message from Dante. Got him. Warehouse on Via Roma. Waiting on your word. I typed back, on my way. I stood up to leave. Mara's hand shot out, grabbed my wrist. Her eyes were open. Foggy from medication, but aware. Don't go, she whispered. I have to handle something. You're going after him. Yeah. If he's alive, then someone else is involved. Someone bigger. Her grip tightened. This isn't just about me, is it? Smart. She'd always been smart. No, I admitted. It's bigger. Then take me with you. You can barely sit up. I'm the only one who knows what he's been doing for 6 years. I'm the only one who can tell you why. She pushed herself up, wincing. You want answers? I have them. But I need to see his face when you make him talk. I should have said no. Should have told her to rest. Should have kept her in that bed, where at least she was safe. But I didn't. Because she was right. She'd been running from this for 6 years. She deserved to see it end. Get dressed, I said. 5 minutes. I called Dante. Told him to bring a car, medical supplies, and enough security to start a small war. Mara changed behind a curtain. I heard her breathing hard, fighting through pain. When she emerged, she was wearing jeans and a hospital hoodie, moving slow but determined. This is a bad idea, I said. Most good stories start with bad ideas. We took the service elevator down. Dante was waiting in the garage with 3 SUVs, tinted windows, and 8 men who looked like they ate problems for breakfast. Mara stopped when she saw them. You brought an army. I brought insurance. We drove through Naples at noon. The city looked innocent in daylight. Tourists taking photos. Street vendors selling lemon slush. Couples holding hands. Nobody knowing that underneath the beauty was a network of power and violence that decided who prospered and who disappeared. Mara stared out the window. I missed the city. Then why'd you leave? Because staying meant dying. I chose the coward's way. I ran. Running kept you alive. That's not cowardice. That's survival. She looked at me. You really believe that? I believe you did what you had to do. Just like I'm about to. The warehouse was off the main roads. Abandoned. Rust and broken windows and the kind of place where screams don't carry. My men had it surrounded. 2 at every exit. 1 on the roof. Nothing got in or out without me knowing. Dante met me at the door. He's inside. Restrained. Hasn't said a word. He will. Mara followed me in. The air smelled like motor oil and rat poison. In the center of the empty space, tied to a metal chair, was Rico Filoni. He looked worse in person than in the photo. The scar across his face was deep, poorly healed. His eyes had the hollow look of someone who'd traded their soul for survival and realized too late the deal wasn't worth it. When he saw me, he smiled. Luciano. Been a while. Not long enough. I knew you'd come eventually. Knew she'd lead you right to me. He looked past me at Mara. Hello, beautiful. Miss me? Mara didn't flinch. Didn't look away. Just stare at him like he was already dead. Who helped you? I asked. Helped me? Nobody helped me. I helped myself. Paid a guy to fake the paperwork. Paid another to make sure the body they found wasn't mine. Paid a third to make sure you never asked questions. He shrugged. Turns out loyalty is just expensive rent. Pay enough, anyone will betray anyone. Names. You already know the names. You just don't want to admit it. I pulled my gun, pressed it against his kneecap. Names. He laughed. Actually laughed. Go ahead.
Shoot.
I'm already a dead man walking. Have been for 6 years. You think pain scares me? I've been living in hell since the night you threw me in that water. Then why come back? Why go after her? Because she has something I need. Something her daddy left behind before he got stupid and got himself killed. Mara stepped forward. My father died of a heart attack. Sure he did. Right after he told Cash and Verducci he was keeping copies of all the financial records. Right after he threatened to go to the feds. Rico grinned. Funny how hearts attack people when they become problems. The name hit me like a slap. Cash and Verducci. Old money. Political connections. A businessman so clean he made saints look dirty. But I'd heard rumors. Quiet whispers about offshore accounts and missing witnesses. Verducci hired you, I said. Hired me?
No.
He saved me. Pulled me out of that water. Gave me a new face. New identity. New purpose. All I had to do was find the files her father hid. The ones that could collapse his entire operation. Mara's face went pale. I don't have any files. Yes, you do. You just don't know it. That painting you've been dragging around for 6 years? The one you refused to sell no matter how broke you got? It's not the canvas he wanted. It's what's behind it. Silence.
Heavy. Thick.
The kind that comes before everything changes. Mara turned to me. The painting. It's in my apartment. The one thing I never left behind. I looked at Rico. You tried to kill her for a painting. I tried to kill her because she wouldn't give it up. Verducci's getting nervous. Feds are sniffing around. He needs those files destroyed before they destroy him. Rico leaned forward. So here's the deal. You get me the painting, I disappear. Nobody else gets hurt. I shot him in the leg. He screamed. Chair tipped backward. My men didn't move. They'd seen worse. Done worse. Here's my deal, I said. You tell me everything about Verducci's operation. Every name. Every account. Every dirty cop and politician. You do that, I'll make your death quick. And if I don't, then I'll make sure you live long enough to regret it. Mara knelt beside him, looked him dead in the eye. You took 6 years of my life. You made me afraid to sleep. Afraid to stay anywhere long enough to call it home. Afraid to trust anyone. Her voice didn't shake. So no. You don't get deals. You don't get mercy. You get exactly what you gave me. Nothing. She stood up. Walked out. I followed. Outside, she leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Is it always like this? Your world.
Yeah.
How do you live with it? You don't. You just survive it. She looked at me. Really looked. I need to get that painting. We'll get it. But first, you need to tell me everything your father was involved in. I don't know anything. He never talked about work. Just told me to keep the painting safe. Said it was important. Important enough to kill for. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Read the message. Her face went white. What? She turned the screen toward me. Unknown number. Asterisk, you have 12 hours. Bring the painting to Pier 19.
Come alone.
If you don't, everyone you've ever cared about dies. Starting with the man standing next to you. Asterisk. I read it twice. Looked at Mara. She was shaking now, the adrenaline from confronting Rico finally wearing off. They're watching us, she said. They've been watching us since you woke up. I pulled out my phone, sent a message to my security team. Sweep for surveillance. All channels.
Now.
30 seconds later. Found 3 cameras on the perimeter. Disabled. But the damage was done. Whoever sent that message knew where we were. Knew we had Rico. Knew we were coming for the painting. Verducci wasn't just connected. He was everywhere. We need to move, I said. Get the painting before they do. My apartment's 20 minutes from here. If they're watching, they'll know we're going. Let them know. I want them to come. Mara grabbed my arm. Luciano, this isn't just about me anymore. If those files expose Verducci, how many people die? How many politicians go down? How many cops? All of them. That's the point. And how many innocent people get caught in the crossfire? She was thinking like someone who still believed the world could be saved without burning it down first. I'd stopped believing that years ago. You want justice? I asked. This is what it looks like. Messy. Bloody. No clean endings. I want to survive, she said. I want to stop running. I want to sleep without checking locks 3 times. But not if it means becoming like them. Not if it means becoming like you. That last part landed exactly where she aimed it. Then what do you want to do? She took a breath. Thought about it. We get the painting. We see what's in those files. Then we decide. Not you. Not Verducci. Us. Fair enough. We got back in the SUV. Dante drove. Mara sat beside me, staring at her phone like it was a bomb waiting to go off. You think he'll really kill people? She asked. Men like Verducci don't make threats. They make promises. Then we have 12 hours. We have less. The moment we touch that painting, the clock speeds up. Her apartment was in a quiet neighborhood. Old buildings. Flower boxes. The kind of place where people minded their business and didn't ask questions. We parked 2 blocks away. I sent my men ahead to sweep the building. They came back 5 minutes later.
Clear.
No signs of forced entry. We climbed 3 flights of stairs. Mara's hands shook as she unlocked the door. The apartment was small.
Clean.
Smelled like paint and lavender. Art covered the walls. Sketches. Watercolors. Portraits of faces I didn't recognize. Where's the painting? I asked. She pointed to the bedroom. Closet. Behind the winter coats. I followed her in. She pushed aside clothes, pulled out a canvas wrapped in brown paper. About 2 feet by 3 feet. Nothing special from the outside. This is it. My father gave it to me when I was 18. Said it was the only thing worth keeping. I never understood why. It's not even good. She unwrapped it carefully. The painting showed a landscape. Generic. Beach scene. Sunset. The kind of thing you'd see in a hotel lobby. Turn it over, I said. She flipped it. The back was covered in protective canvas. I pulled out a knife, carefully cut along the edges. The canvas peeled away. Underneath was a USB drive taped to the wooden frame. Mara stared at it. That's it? 6 years of running for a USB drive. It's not the drive. It's what's on it. I pocketed the USB, kept the painting. We need to leave. Now. We made it to the door before the lights went out. Not just in the apartment. The whole building. Emergency power didn't kick in. Just darkness and the sound of Mara's breathing too loud in my ear. Luciano. Stay behind me. I pulled my gun. Dante and 2 of my men were in the hallway, flashlights up, scanning shadows. One of them whispered into his radio. We've got movement. Ground floor. 3 targets. Armed. Not cops. Cops announced themselves. These were professionals. Verducci's men. Back in trance, I said.
Now.
We moved fast. Down the back stairs. Mara stumbled on the 2nd floor, caught herself. I grabbed her arm, kept her moving. Behind us, footsteps.
Fast. Gaining.
Dante turned, fired twice. The sound was deafening in the stairwell. Someone screamed. Someone fell. But more kept coming. We burst out into the alley. The SUV was 30 feet away. Might as well have been 30 miles. Run, I told Mara. She ran. I covered her, firing at shadows that moved too fast. Dante took a bullet to the shoulder, kept moving. One of my men went down hard, didn't get back up. We piled into the SUV. Dante floored it. Glass shattered. The back window exploded. Mara screamed. I pulled her down, covered her with my body. We took 3 turns too fast, lost them in traffic. Dante was bleeding but driving steady. I checked Mara. She was shaking but unhurt. Where are we going? She asked. Somewhere safe. Nowhere safe. She was right. But I had one place Verducci wouldn't expect. One place even my enemies respected. My home, I said. Capri. The villa. That's an island. We'll be trapped. Or protected. Depends how you look at it. Dante radioed ahead. By the time we reached the private dock, a boat was waiting.
Fast.
Armed. Crewed by men who die before they let anyone board. We crossed the water as the sun set, painting the sky in colors that looked too beautiful for the day we'd had. Mara stood at the rail, wind in her hair, the painting clutched to her chest. You okay? I asked. I don't know what okay feels like anymore. It feels like this.
Alive.
Moving. Not giving up. She looked at me. How many people died today because of me?
None.
They died because of Verducci. Because of greed. Because of a system built on secrets. I stood beside her. You didn't start this war. But you might be the only one who can end it. By releasing the files. By choosing what kind of justice you want. The villa appeared on the horizon. White stone.
Cliffs.
Gardens that tumbled down to the sea. It looked like paradise.
It was.
But paradise had walls.
Gates. Guards.
Because even heaven needed protection from hell. We docked as stars started appearing. My staff met us at the entrance. They'd seen me bring people here before. Business associates. Politicians. People who needed convincing or threatening or both. They'd never seen me bring someone like Mara. Guest room, I told my housekeeper. Best one. Everything she needs. Mara followed her inside. I stayed on the terrace, looking out at the water, the USB drive heavy in my pocket. Dante appeared beside me, arm in a sling. Doc patched me up. I'll live. The man we lost?
Angelo.
Good kid. Had a family. Take care of them. Whatever they need. Forever. Already handled. We stood in silence. The kind that comes after battles. The kind where you count who's left and realize the number keeps getting smaller. Boss, Dante said carefully. What's the play here? We open the files. See what we're dealing with. And then we burn everything Verducci built. Quietly. Completely. So thoroughly, he won't even remember what power felt like. And the girl? She decides her own fate. I'm done deciding for people. He nodded, left me alone with the sea and the weight of choices I was about to make. Inside, I found Mara in the library. She'd showered, changed into clothes my staff provided. She looked small in the leather chair, surrounded by books worth more than most cars. I plugged it in, she said, pointing to a laptop on the desk. I couldn't help myself. What's on it? Everything. Bank accounts.
Wire transfers.
Names.
Dates.
Conversations. It's not just Verducci. It's senators, judges, police chiefs, business leaders. 20 years of corruption in one file. I looked at the screen, scrolled through documents that could topple governments, ruin lives, change everything. Your father was brave, I said. Or stupid. Maybe both. He was trying to do the right thing. And they killed him for it. She closed the laptop. What happens if we release this? Chaos. Investigations. Arrests. Some guilty people go to prison.
Some innocent people get caught in the blast.
Media circus. Political collapse. And Verducci comes after everyone involved. What happens if we don't? Nothing changes. Verducci keeps winning. Your father's death meant nothing. And you keep running for the rest of your life. She stood up, walked to the window. Moonlight painted her silver. There's a third option, she said.
I'm listening.
We use it. Not to destroy everything. To destroy him. Leak just enough to make Verducci's allies turn on him. Make it look like he's the liability. Let them eat their own. Smart. Surgical. The kind of revenge that doesn't feel like revenge until it's too late to stop it. That's my world talking, I said. Quiet justice. Are you sure you want to step into it? She turned to face me. I've been in it for 6 years. I just didn't have the power to fight back. Now I do. Then we do it your way. She smiled.
Small. Sad.
Thank you. For what? For asking. Most men in your position would have just decided. I'm not most men. No, she agreed. You're worse. You're a man who makes me believe good things can happen in a bad world. She left the library. I stayed, staring at that laptop, thinking about the kind of fire we were about to start. My phone buzzed. Message from unknown number. 8 hours left. Pier 19. Don't make me come find you. I deleted it. Sent my own message to my network. I need every connection to Verducci mapped. Every ally. Every business. Every weakness. 6 hours.
Go.
Then I poured bourbon, sat in the dark, and waited for morning. Because wars don't start with explosions. They start with men in dark rooms deciding who deserves to burn. Would you sacrifice everything for one person, or save yourself and let them face the fire alone? Tell us below. The scream woke me at 3 a.m. I was out of bed before my eyes fully opened, gun in hand, moving toward Mara's room on instinct. The door was locked. I kicked it open. She was sitting up in bed, drenched in sweat, eyes wild. No intruder, just nightmares that felt real enough to kill. Hey. I holstered the gun. You're safe. Am I? Her voice shook. Because it doesn't feel safe. It feels like waiting. I sat on the edge of the bed, kept distance between us. Talk to me. I dreamed about my father. The night he died. I was 17. Came home and found him on the kitchen floor. She pulled her knees to her chest. The coroner said heart attack.
Clean. Quick.
But his eyes were open, scared, like he saw something coming. My phone buzzed. Message from my tech guy, files analyzed. Found the target. Verducci's main account's route through Senator Marcus Pemberton. He's the keystone. Remove him, structure collapses. I showed Mara the message. Your father documented everything. Wire transfers, meetings, recorded conversations. Pemberton's been taking money for 15 years. So we expose him? Dawn broke over Capri. Mara reviewed the files in the library. She had her father's focus. That scary kind of intelligence that sees patterns where others see noise. Luciano. She called me over. Look at this. 3 days before my father died, Pemberton met with him. Offered him money to destroy the files. My father refused. She clicked play on an audio file. Her father's voice filled the room. I appreciate the offer, Senator. But I have a daughter. And I'd rather she grow up knowing her father stood for something. Pemberton's response was ice. Then I hope she knows you died for nothing. The recording ended.
My phone rang.
Unknown number. I answered. Mr. DeLuca. Verducci's voice.
Smooth. Cultured.
I believe you have something that belongs to me. Pier 19. 6 hours. You bring the files. I bring guarantees of safety for Miss Vitelli. Your guarantees aren't worth the breath you waste making them. He chuckled. Then let me offer something better. You give me those files, I give you Rico Filoni's location. The real one. The real Rico has been watching this entire time. A video file appeared. I opened it.
Rico Faloni.
Standing outside my villa.
Right now.
Holding a rifle with a scope pointed at my library window. At Mara. What would you do if the enemy was already at your door? I pulled Mara to the floor as glass exploded above us.
The shot missed.
Barely. My men were moving before the echo faded. Dante's voice crackled through my earpiece. Shooter on the north cliff. Moving to engage. Take him alive, I barked. Mara was breathing fast. I covered her body with mine as 3 more shots punched through the window. Not trying to kill. Trying to terrify. My phone rang again. Verducci. Impressive response time. But Rico's not alone. I have 12 men on that island. And if those files aren't delivered in 4 hours, they start killing everyone you care about. You made a mistake, I said. Thinking I care about anyone more than I hate you. I hung up. We're leaving.
Now.
We reached the basement. Secret exit through the cliff down to a private cave with a boat. Dante was waiting. Bleeding from a graze on his temple, but standing. Got the shooter. Wasn't Rico. Another decoy. But he talked. Said Rico's on the mainland. Naples. Verducci's playing us, I said. Mara wiped blood from a cut on her cheek. We give him what he wants. But not the real files. We give him copies.
Doctored.
Then we release the real ones everywhere at once. He'll come after you. Let him come. I'm done running. The boat cut through dark water toward Naples. We docked at a private marina. Changed clothes. Grabbed weapons. By 2 we were moving. The factory was abandoned. Perfect place for a final confrontation. We went in through the roof with Mara and Dante. Voices below. Rico and Verducci. You said she'd be dead by now, Rico hissed. Plans change. We do this quietly. Get the files. Eliminate the girl. Frame DeLuca for her death. I dropped from the catwalk. Gun up. Evening, gentlemen. Rico went for his weapon. I shot it out of his hand. Verducci smiled. Predictable as always. Then lights flooded on. 30 men stepped from shadows. Surrounding us. I raised my hand. Snapped my fingers. Every light went out. Gunfire erupted. Smoke grenades filled the space.
Chaos.
I found Rico in the dark. We fought. I won. Where's Verducci?
Gone.
Back exit. I tracked him to the harbor. Private yacht. Engines running. Verducci. He turned. Saw the gun. I pulled the trigger. But the gun clicked empty. He rushed me. We went down hard. Fists. Blood. Desperation. I won. Left him bleeding on the dock. Cops were coming. I limped back to find Mara. She was waiting.
Alive.
Safe.
Crying.
It's over, I said. Is it? Does revenge ever really end? Or does it just change shape? The news hit like a hurricane. Senator Pemberton arrested. 12 police chiefs suspended. Verducci's empire collapsing in real time. I watched from a safe house in Rome. Mara beside me. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. I ignored them all. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. We need to talk. Pier 19. 1 hour. Come alone. We arrived at sunset. One figure standing at the end. Black coat. Hands visible. The figure turned. Rico. Real Rico. Surprised, he asked. I raised my gun.
How?
You really want to know? He looked at Mara. Your father saved my sister 15 years ago. I owe him. I owe you. Mara stepped forward. You terrorized me for 6 years. I protected you for 6 years. Every time Verducci sent someone to kill you, I made sure they failed. Check your phone. Every apartment fire you escaped. Every car that broke down. That was me, keeping you alive. Mara scrolled through her phone, face going pale. He's telling the truth.
Rico nadith.
I couldn't stop Verducci without exposing myself. So, I became the monster. Made you run. Kept you alive long enough for DeLuca to find you again.
Why?
I asked. Because your father told me something before he died. Find DeLuca. Tell him to protect his daughter. Because DeLuca owed him. 12 years ago. You killed a man. Wrong man. Her father helped you bury it. The memory hit me.
Ide furguten.
Buried it deep. Rico pulled out a folder. Every name. Every account. Every dirty secret left. You clean the city, I disappear. He walked away. Disappeared into darkness. By midnight, I distributed the information. By dawn, 12 more arrests. By sunset, Naples was cleaning itself.
My phone rang.
A voice I didn't recognize. We represent certain individuals unhappy with recent events. We'd like to arrange a meeting. Tomorrow. Florence. 2 o'clock. The line went dead. Who was that? Mara asked. People who want me dead, but are willing to negotiate first. Then I'm coming with you. Together, I agreed. At the church, 10 men waited. Their leader stepped forward. We want peace. Stop releasing files. Stop making arrests. In exchange, you walk away. Take your girl. Disappear. Mara spoke. We don't stop. But we're strategic. We target the worst. And you help us. He considered it. That could work. One condition. Anyone comes after her. You burn everything. Agreed. We shook hands. That night, message from Dante. Got a problem. Rico's dead. Single gunshot.
Suicide note.
I showed Mara. Murder made to look like suicide. The peace we'd just negotiated suddenly felt like a countdown. Because in my world, peace doesn't last. Who really won and at what cost? The funeral was quiet. Just me, Mara, and Dante in the rain. Dante handed me a file in the car. Rico's apartment had cameras. Got the footage. Video showed a man entering. Face hidden. Professional. He talked to Rico. Rico refused something. The man pulled a gun. Rico just sat down. Accepted it. Run facial recognition, I said. Already did. Got a match. He showed me the screen.
Angelo.
The man who supposedly died protecting us at the villa. How deep does this go? Mara asked. All the way. They planted him years ago. I called the number from Florence. I know about Angelo. I know about Rico. You give me whoever's pulling the strings, or I release everything. You're bluffing. Check your email. Long pause.
Palazzo Vecchio.
Tomorrow night. Gala event. Minister Enzo Caruso, Italian Minister of Interior, controls everything. The line went dead. We can't kill a government minister, Mara said. So we don't kill him. We expose him.
Live.
On camera. At his own party. We had 24 hours. I made calls. Pulled favors. By midnight, we had invitations. The gala was champagne and chandeliers. Mara wore a black dress. I wore a tux hiding 3 weapons. Caruso was holding court near the terrace. I sent a message to his private number. I know what you did to Roberto Vitelli. Meet me on the terrace in 5 minutes or I send proof to every journalist in Italy. 3 minutes later, he walked toward the terrace. Mr. DeLuca, I wondered when you'd make your move. I know you ordered the hit on Roberto. Know you've been running Verducci's operation. Killing me accomplishes nothing. Remove me. Someone else fills the spot.
I pulled out a tablet.
I'm not here to kill you. I'm here to retire you. Live feed. His security cameras. Recording everything. Streaming to secure servers. Uploading to news outlets in real time. His face went white. You're recording this. Resign tomorrow. Disappear. Or stay and watch everything collapse on television. Mara stepped forward. You killed my father. Now you pay. Not with your life. With your legacy. I pressed send. Files uploaded. Every news outlet got the package. Within minutes, the gala erupted in chaos.
Police arrived.
Clean ones. They took Caruso away in handcuffs. We slipped out. Dante met us at the car. Media's going crazy. You just started a revolution. We drove back to Rome through the night. Mara fell asleep against my shoulder. My phone buzzed. Unknown number, well played. But the game isn't over. See you soon. I deleted it. Threats only work on people who have something to lose. We reached Rome at dawn. The city looked clean in morning light. What happens now? Mara asked. Now we live. Really live. But as we reached the door, I looked back. Saw a figure watching from across the street. Too far to identify. They waved.
Once.
Then disappeared. The game wasn't over. Is freedom ever real, or just a pause between battles? 3 months later, Mara opened an art gallery in Trastevere. Opening night, I watched her talk to collectors. She'd changed. Confident. Unafraid. She's remarkable, a voice said beside me. I turned. Elegant woman.
60. I'm Sofia Benetti.
I knew her father. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Dante, we need to talk.
Now.
I found him outside. He looked worried. That figure watching us? Identified. Isabella Marchetti. Former intelligence. Connected to something called the Council. European power brokers. They want to meet you. Set it up. 2 days later, I met Isabella in Milan. Private club. She was alone. You disrupted a delicate system. The council doesn't like nervous. We're offering you a seat. You want me to join you? Help rebuild what you tore down. Make it better. Or remain a threat. Threats get eliminated. She pulled out a folder. Contracts. Power beyond anything I'd built. How long do I have? 72 hours. After that, the offer expires. And so does your protection. She smiled. Your father once faced a similar choice. He refused. 3 months later, he was dead.
Car accident.
Very tragic. I left. Called Mara. We need to talk. I met her at the gallery. Told her everything. The council. The offer. The threat. What do you want to do? She asked. I want to keep you safe. She walked to a painting. My father used to say there's 3 kinds of power. Power over people. Power with people. Power for people. Maybe it's time to try the third. Meaning, build something they can't touch. Something that makes their power irrelevant. I pulled out my phone. Typed. Your offer is declined. Do your worst. I hit send. 3 weeks. Silence. Then Dante found something. The council. Exposed. Every member. Every crime. Published across 50 outlets worldwide. Someone had destroyed them completely. My phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. DeLuca.
You don't know me.
But I knew your father. He asked me to watch over you. The council is finished. When others rise, I'll be watching. You just keep living. Why are you helping me? Your father saved my life once. This is how I repay the debt.
Goodbye.
The line went dead. Mara walked in. Everything okay? I pulled her close.
Yeah.
We're alive. We're together. She kissed me, led me to the back room, unveiled a new painting, 2 figures in shadow. Behind them, light breaking through. It's called After the Fire. About survival. About finding each other in the ruins. It's us. My phone buzzed. Dante. New threats emerging. Want me to start tracking? I looked at Mara. At the life we were building. I typed back. Yeah. But quietly. We've earned some peace. Mara squeezed my hand. What happens next? Next? We live. We fight when we have to. We love when we can. And when they come again? When they come again, we'll be ready. Together. We walked out into Roman night. The city sprawled before us. Ancient. Eternal. Somewhere in shadows, threats were forming. The next war was already beginning.
But tonight?
Tonight we had each other. This is the end of Luciano and Mara's chapter. But every ending is just a new beginning. Subscribe and turn on notifications because next week we're bringing you a story that'll shake you to your core. A tale of betrayal, redemption, and the thin line between justice and revenge. Drop a comment below. Would you have made the same choices? Your thoughts inspire our next stories. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. Share this with someone who loves tales of power and passion. See you next week. Stay bold. Stay brave. And remember, some fires are meant to burn forever. Rain hammered against the bulletproof windows of my penthouse like 1,000 angry fists. I sat in the dark, watching Naples drown beneath the storm, a glass of bourbon untouched in my hand. The city below looked peaceful from up here.
Clean.
But I knew better. I'd built my empire in those streets, buried my enemies in those waters, and learned that peace was just another word for the silence before someone pulls a trigger. My phone vibrated on the marble desk. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. In my world, unknown numbers meant 2 things. Bad news or a trap. Sometimes both. But something made me answer. Mr. DeLuca? A woman's voice. Professional. Nervous. This is St. Helena Hospital. You're listed as the only emergency contact for a Miss Mara Vitelli. She's in critical condition. The glass slipped from my fingers. Didn't break. Just rolled across the desk, spilling amber liquid like blood. Mara Vitelli. I hadn't heard that name in 6 years. Not since the night she disappeared. Not since I became the monster she needed protection from. Hi viewers, Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. My driver didn't ask questions when I told him where we were going. Dante had been with me long enough to know that when I moved at 2 in the morning, someone was either dying or already dead. The Mercedes cut through empty streets, wipers struggling against the rain. I watched the city blur past, my mind dragging me back to a place I'd locked away. 6 years ago, Mara was just a girl who brought coffee to my office.
22.
Art student. Worked nights to pay rent. She had this smile that could crack concrete, this laugh that made you forget what darkness looked like. She never knew who I really was. Never knew that the man behind the mahogany desk owned half the city and controlled the other half. I made sure she stayed innocent, made sure she stayed safe. Until I failed. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and dying flowers. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, washing everything in sick yellow. A nurse led me down a corridor that stretched forever, her shoes squeaking against linoleum. She kept glancing at me. They always did. Power has a smell. Fear follows it like a shadow. Room 412, she said, stopping at a door. The doctors will want to speak with you. I didn't answer. Just pushed through. Mara lay on white sheets under white lights, tubes running from her arms like spiderwebs. Her skin looked like porcelain about to crack. Hair darker than I remembered, tangled across the pillow. Machines beeped a rhythm that sounded too much like a countdown. I stood there. Couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. 6 years. 6 years of building walls high enough to forget. 6 years of telling myself she was better off without me. And here she was, broken and alone, with my name written on a piece of paper as her only lifeline. A doctor appeared beside me.
Young.
Tired. Mr. DeLuca? I'm Dr. Patterson. Miss Vitelli was brought in 4 hours ago. Hit and run. Severe trauma to the head and ribs. Internal bleeding. We've stabilized her, but the next 24 hours are critical. Will she live? My voice came out colder than I intended. He hesitated. Doctors hate that question. We're doing everything we can. That wasn't an answer. I looked at the chart clipped to her bed. No insurance. No family listed. No address. Just my name and a phone number I hadn't changed in a decade because some part of me always hoped she'd call. She never did. A nurse handed me a plastic bag. These were her belongings. Inside was a phone with a cracked screen, $23, and a folded photograph. I pulled it out slowly, my hands steadier than they should have been. It was us. 6 years ago. Outside the cafe, where she used to work. Someone had taken it without us knowing. She was laughing at something I'd said, coffee cup halfway to her lips. I was looking at her like she was the only real thing in a world made of lies. She'd kept it. All these years, through everything, she'd carried a picture of me. I sat down in the chair beside her bed. The kind of chair that tells you you're going to be there a while. The kind they put in rooms where people say goodbye. But I wasn't saying goodbye. Not yet. Mara's chest rose and fell in shallow rhythms. Her fingers twitched against the sheets. I reached out, stopped myself. Men like me didn't get to touch things this fragile. We broke them just by existing. You should have called someone else, I whispered. Anyone else. But there was no one else. That's what the chart said. That's what the empty room confirmed. I pulled out my phone, sent a single text to my second in command. I'm unavailable until further notice. Handle everything. 3 seconds later. Understood, boss. That's how power works. You say jump, they ask how high. You say disappear, they ask which country. You say protect, they ask who dies. The rain kept falling outside. The machines kept beeping. And I kept staring at the girl who should have forgotten me, wondering why the hell she'd written my name down as the person to call when everything fell apart. I hadn't heard her name in 6 years. Not since the night she vanished because of me. Would you have answered that call? Drop your thoughts below. Memory hits different when you're sitting next to someone who might not wake up. It doesn't ask permission. Just drags you back whether you want to go or not. 6 years ago, my office overlooked the Bay of Naples. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Marble floors. Art worth more than most people made in a lifetime. I ran a legitimate business on paper. Luxury resorts, vineyards, real estate development. The kind of empire that got you invited to government dinners and charity galas. But underneath was a different story. Mara started working at the cafe on the ground floor of my building. I noticed her the first day.
Hard not to.
She moved through that space like she belonged somewhere better, humming to herself while she made espresso, sketching on napkins during slow hours, completely unaware that the marble and gold above her head were built on bones and buried secrets. I went down there more than I needed to. Told myself it was convenient. Told myself I liked the coffee. Truth was, I liked watching someone exist without fear, without calculation, without knowing that the man in the tailored suit ordering a double espresso had 3 offshore accounts and a body count he'd stopped tracking years ago. She was kind. That's what got me. Genuine kindness. The type that's so rare in my world you forget it exists. One morning, she asked my name. Luciano, I said. That's beautiful, she smiled. Italian. Born here. Raised here. Never left. Me neither. Well, not yet. Her eyes lit up. I'm saving for art school in Florence. Another year, maybe 2. I nodded. Didn't tell her that Florence had 3 families who'd shoot her just for walking into the wrong gallery. Didn't tell her that the world she dreamed about was controlled by men like me who decided which artists got to dream and which ones got to disappear. I just said, Florence is beautiful. You'll love it. 3 days later, her apartment building had a fire. Electrical. She lost everything. Showed up to work with red eyes and clothes that smelled like smoke. I made a call. By the end of the week, she had a new apartment. Better neighborhood. Rent paid for 6 months. Anonymous donor through a city relief program, they told her. She cried when she got the keys. I watched from my office window as she walked out of the building, holding that key like it was made of gold. That's when I knew I was in trouble. Because men like me don't protect. We own. We control. We take. But I didn't want to own her. I wanted her safe. And that distinction was the most dangerous thing I'd ever felt. For 2 years, she stayed in my orbit. I made sure of it. Her mother needed surgery? Mysterious hospital donation covered it. Her car broke down? Some charity program gave her a replacement. Scholarship opportunity appeared out of nowhere? She never questioned it. She thought the universe was finally being kind. She didn't know the universe had my phone number. I never crossed the line. Never invited her upstairs. Never touched her beyond a handshake. Because I knew what I was. Knew that getting close to me was like getting close to a fire. You might feel warm for a moment, but eventually, you burn. Then Rico Filoni decided to get ambitious. Rico was my enforcer. Smart. Brutal. Loyal. Or so I thought. He'd been with me for 5 years, climbed the ranks by doing the jobs no one else wanted to do. The kind of work that required a strong stomach and a dead conscience. But loyalty in my world is just fear wearing a mask. And fear only lasts until someone offers you something better. Rico wanted to send a message to a rival family. Wanted to show them we weren't scared. Wanted to prove himself. So he grabbed someone close to their organization. Roughed them up. Sent pictures. Except he grabbed the wrong person. He grabbed Mara. She was walking home from a late shift. Wrong place. Wrong time. Wrong face that looked similar to someone else in the dark. He threw her in a van, drove her to a warehouse, and by the time he realized his mistake, the damage was done. I got the call 2 hours later. One of my men, shaking, barely able to get the words out. Boss, Rico messed up. He took the girl. The one from the cafe. I didn't say anything. Just hung up. Got in my car. Drove to that warehouse going 90 through red lights. When I walked in, Rico was standing there, hands shaking, trying to explain. Mara was in the corner, clothes torn, face bruised, eyes vacant. She looked at me like she was looking through glass. Like she'd left her body somewhere safer, and what remained was just a shell. I didn't yell, didn't pull my gun, just walked past Rico, took off my jacket, and wrapped it around her shoulders. Get her to a hospital, I told one of my men. Private. Discreet.
Best doctors. Now.
Then I turned to Rico. You touched what was sacred. He started apologizing. Started explaining. Started begging. I let him finish. Then I said 6 words that ended his life. Take him to the boats. Quietly. That's the thing about power. Real power doesn't need volume. It doesn't need rage. It just needs certainty. Rico disappeared that night.
No body. No grave.
Just gone. But so did Mara. She left the hospital 3 days later. Left the city a week after that. No forwarding address.
No goodie.
Just a resignation letter slipped under the cafe door and a phone number that went straight to voicemail. I told myself it was better this way. Told myself she'd heal somewhere I couldn't hurt her. Told myself that loving someone meant letting them run from you when they finally saw what you really were. I told myself a lot of lies back then. Now, sitting in this hospital room, watching her chest rise and fall, I realized something. She never ran from me. She ran from him. And if Rico was dead, why did her chart say hit and run with no witnesses and no driver found? What would you do if the past you buried came back to haunt you? The nurse came back at dawn. I hadn't slept. Hadn't moved except to shift my weight when my legs went numb. I just sat there, watching Mara breathe, listening to machines count her heartbeats like they were rationing them. Mr. DeLuca, the nurse said softly. Visiting hours don't start until 8, but I can get you coffee if you'd like.
I fine.
She hesitated at the door. Are you family?
No.
Then how? I'm all she has. The words came out sharper than I meant. That answer your question? She left without another word. Sunlight started creeping through the blinds, cutting the room into strips of shadow and gold. Mara's face looked different in the light. Older. There were lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. A scar on her left cheekbone, faint but visible. 6 years had changed her. 6 years had carved experience into skin that used to be untouched. I wondered what those years looked like. Where she went. Who she became. If she ever thought about me the way I thought about her every time I walked past that empty cafe. My phone buzzed. Text from Dante. Everything's handled. You good? I typed back. Yeah.
Lie.
I hadn't been good in 6 years. Around 9, a different doctor came in. Older. Confident. The kind of confidence that comes from telling people bad news, so often you forget it's supposed to hurt. Mr. DeLuca, I'm Dr. Harrison, head of trauma. I've reviewed Miss Vitelli's case. He pulled up her chart on a tablet. The injuries are severe. Blunt force trauma to the head, 3 broken ribs, internal bleeding we've managed to control. But there's something concerning.
Tell me.
The pattern of injuries doesn't match a typical hit and run. The impact points suggest she was hit multiple times. Different angles. Almost like someone was trying to finish the job. His expression confirmed what I already knew. This wasn't an accident. It was an execution that failed. Does she have enemies? He asked carefully. I almost laughed. She made coffee for a living. Drew pictures. Helped old ladies cross the street. She doesn't have enemies. But I did. And anyone close to me became a target whether they knew it or not. When will she wake up? I asked. Could be hours. Could be days. Brain injuries are unpredictable. We're monitoring her closely. He left. I stayed. I pulled out my phone, opened an encrypted app, sent a message to my head of security. I need everything on Mara Vitelli. Last 6 years. Every address. Every job. Every person she talked to. I want to know what she ate for breakfast and who watched her eat it. Response came in 30 seconds. On it. That's the thing about being who I am. Information flows uphill. You ask a question, and the world scrambles to answer before you have to ask twice. I looked at the photo again. The one she'd kept. We looked happy in it. Or at least, I looked less dead inside than usual. She looked like someone who still believed good things could happen. I wondered when she stopped believing that. The door opened. A young woman walked in, mid-20s, carrying flowers and wearing scrubs with cartoon characters on them.
She froze when she saw me. Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't know she had visitors. Who are you?
I'm Keisha.
I work in pediatrics upstairs. Mara and we were neighbors. I heard what happened. She held up the flowers like they were an explanation. I just wanted to drop these off. I stood up.
Keisha took a step back.
Most people did when I stood. Something about the way I carried myself made them remember they had somewhere else to be. How long were you neighbors? About 4 months. She just moved into the building. Kept to herself mostly.
Painted a lot.
I'd hear music through the walls sometimes. She ever mention anyone? Anyone following her? Anyone making her uncomfortable?
Keisha's face changed.
Why are you asking? Answer the question. She swallowed. There was a guy. Maybe 2 weeks ago. She mentioned him once. Said someone kept showing up at the coffee shop where she worked. Same time, every day. Just sitting there. Watching. She thought it was creepy, but didn't think much of it. What did he look like? She didn't say. Just that he had scars. Said he looked like he'd been through something bad.
Scars.
My blood went cold. I pulled up a photo on my phone. Old surveillance footage from 6 years ago.
Rico Falone.
Before he disappeared. This him. Keisha squinted. I don't know. Maybe? She never showed me a picture. I deleted the image. You see anyone suspicious around your building, you call this number. I handed her a card with just digits. No name, day or night. Understand? She nodded, set the flowers on the nightstand, and left quickly. I sat back down, mind racing.
Rico was dead.
I'd made sure of it. Watched his body get wrapped in chains and dropped into water, so deep even fish didn't go there.
There was no coming back from that.
But Mara had scars. Fresh ones. And someone with scars had been watching her. My phone buzzed. Message from my security chief. Found something. Sending now. A file downloaded. I opened it. Mara's life for the past 6 years, laid out in addresses and timestamps. She'd moved 17 times. Never stayed anywhere longer than 8 months. Worked under-the-table jobs. Coffee shops. Art galleries. Bookstores. Never used credit cards. Never posted online. She'd been living like someone running. Or someone being hunted. The last page was a police report from 3 months ago. Filed in Rome. Mara claimed someone broke into her apartment. Nothing stolen. Just her sketchbooks torn apart. Photos ripped off walls. A message written on her bathroom mirror in red lipstick. You can't hide forever. She'd withdrawn the report 2 days later. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not anger. Anger was too clean. This was colder. Sharper. The kind of feeling that turns men into ghosts and ghosts into legends. Someone had been hunting her. For 6 years. Quietly. Patiently. Waiting for the right moment. And I'd been too buried in my own empire to notice. I looked at her lying there, fragile and broken, and made a decision. Whoever did this was about to learn why they called me Il Fantasma. Why people whispered my name instead of saying it. Why the smart ones ran when they heard I was looking for them. Because I didn't build my empire on mercy. I built it on making examples. Mara's fingers twitched. Her eyes moved beneath closed lids. I leaned forward. Mara, I said quietly, if you can hear me, you're safe now. I promise. Her lips moved.
Barely.
A whisper so faint I almost missed it. Luciano. My heart stopped. Her eyes opened. Unfocused.
Confused.
She looked at me like she was looking at a memory she couldn't quite place. Who? Her voice cracked. Who are you? Could you love someone who doesn't remember loving you?
She didn't recognize me.
Or maybe she did, and was pretending not to. In my world, you learn to read people like headlines. Every micro-expression tells a story. Every pause is a decision. Mara's eyes held something I couldn't decode. I'm Luciano, I said. Kept my voice soft.
Non threatening.
The way you talk to something wounded. We knew each other a long time ago. Luciano. She tested the name.
Slow.
Like it was in a language she used to speak. The hospital called you. Yeah. Why? Good question. I'd been asking myself the same thing for 8 hours. You listed me as your emergency contact. Her face went blank. Not confused. Blank. Like someone had just told her the sky was green, and she was trying to make that make sense. I don't. I don't remember doing that. The machines beeped. A nurse walked past outside. Somewhere down the hall, someone was crying. What do you remember? I asked. She closed her eyes, breathed careful, like her ribs were reminding her they were broken. I was walking home.
Late.
I heard a car. Then, she stopped. Opened her eyes. Then nothing. Just white lights and pain. You see the driver?
No.
The car? Black. Maybe. I don't know. She was lying. Not about the car. About something else. I could tell by the way her left hand gripped the sheet. By the way her pulse jumped on the monitor. By the way she looked everywhere except at me. Mara. You said we knew each other. She cut me off. Sharper now.
How?
You used to work at a cafe. In my building. 6 years ago. Recognition flickered across her face.
Fast.
Then gone. The cafe, she whispered. I remember marble. And windows. And a man who,